Okay. I think the rest will find us on the way, Susanna. So, we are going to start. My participants, you're most welcome this evening. We have Susanna. I'm not going to try and pronounce your second names. How do you pronounce it, Susanna?
Cederqvist.
Yeah, the kiss.
Ja. Yes.
It's a bit hard for me. So today we have Susanna going to share with us. I will give you a chance to introduce yourself, Susanna, before you start. Just know that we are really honored to have you with us this evening, and we are welcoming you so much, and we hope you can do this with us more and more in future. Thank you
Mm.
so much for joining, and you're welcome to begin.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for the invitation. It's very
Mhm.
nice to be here and meet you all. I just going to share my presentation. Now, I think you can see it. So I'm going to talk about dyslexia in school. See the whole picture of dyslexia. That is my theme. And I have to apologize from the beginning because my English is not so good. I'm from Sweden and Swedish is my language. So I hope you will understand me anyway. And please let me know if there is something it's hard to understand for you in my English. So I'm going to talk about three things now. I will start to talk about dyslexia and why it's so important to see the whole picture of dyslexia. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about school, and then in the end, accessible text and how you can do and what you can do with a text so it can be a little bit more dyslexia friendly in a way. But I'm going to start a little bit with to introduce myself. My name is Susanna Cederqvist, and I'm from Sweden. And I'm a teacher from the beginning with supplementary education in dyslexia and special needs and things like that. And I've been a speaker and lecturer on dyslexia since 2009. And I call my work One Picture of Dyslexia, en bild av dyslexi in Swedish. But it means one picture of dyslexia. And so when I work on this dyslexia field, I'm a speaker and lecturer. I speak a lot in schools, in front of teachers and headmasters, and also in companies and in workplaces. And I'm an advisor. I've been a special advisor to Prince Carl Philip and the Princess Sophia's Foundation of Sweden in Sweden, in the royal castle, and their foundation is also working a little bit on dyslexia right now. So I have been an advisor to them as well, and I also have courses with students with dyslexia in universities and courses for parents who has children with dyslexia, and also courses for adults, a program for dyslexics adults about dyslexia in their working role. Yes. And I am the leader of an international network called WHOLE, International Dyslexia Strengths Network. And you are going to get a little greeting from us later today, a small film. And this is a group of people. We are all working on dyslexia in this wide perspective. So we talk about the problems, of course, but also the strengths, the dyslexic strengths. So we think that the whole picture is very important, and we all of us is professors, dyslexia researchers, and dyslexia experts around the world who working together to spread this wide picture of dyslexia. And I have been writing two books, Dyslexia and Strengths is True, and the latest book dyslexia in school see the whole pictures, and that is written from to teachers and how you can think about dyslexia in school. And then I've been writing 2 chapters into international books. These 2 books, the Routledge International Handbook of Dyslexia in Education and Dyslexia in Many Language. And I've also working a little bit about dyslexia and music, and I have written an essay about how dyslexia can affect the music area. But now I will start. So now you know a little bit more about me, but I will start my presentation now about dyslexia. And I'm going to start to read a little bit for you. The girl was looking forward to starting school, especially learning how to read. When she came home from kindergarten, she sometimes sat down and looked at the big book about Africa with nice pictures in it and listened to her favorite cassette tape. Sometimes she would also take out another book, a textbook, sit on the living room floor and pretend to read. She let her eyes go back and forth over the words before turning the page. It made her feel like a grown-up, and she looked forward to the day when she would be able to read for real. But it took a time, and this girl, when in school, when she was around 9 years old, there was silent reading in the classroom, and this lesson the girl couldn't read at all. She sat with her book in front of her, and she couldn't make it at all. So she looked a little bit over the classroom, and she saw her friend Sandra on the other side of the room, and she saw Sandra turned her page in her book. So the girl turned her page in her book as well. And then the girl again pretended to read, just sat and looked at her text. And then she saw her friend turned her page. So the girl did it too in her book. This happens just once, that the girl didn't read, that she just pretended to read. But she had that in her memory in a way, and thought that maybe this was the reason, because she didn't read so fast as many others in her class. Maybe it must be this who was the reason, that she just pretended to read and not read for real that time. But then it was not about that, it was about dyslexia. When the girl was 12 years old, her parents started to talk about this picture and showed this picture for her. And maybe some of you have seen this picture before. It's a picture with different kind of animals, and then in front of them there is a teacher. And the teacher tells them, for a fair selection, everyone has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. And we can see these all animals. They are very different from each other. And it's much harder for the elephant to climb the tree than it is for the monkey, for example. And this difference that is between these animals, this difference is also in a class, in the classroom, because students are also very different from each other. And that is the point. That is how it should be. All animals should not be the same, and neither we as well. And this picture became quite important for the girl, or for me. Of course, this girl was me when I was smaller, when I was a child. And this picture became quite important for me, because I started to realize that we are different from each other, and that is the point. That is how it should be. And of course, I saw the problems with reading and writing for myself and also others, dyslexic in my surroundings. But I also started to see something else when I compare different families. I also start to see like strong fields, other common dyslexics, not just the problems, also strengths. Do you think outside the box? Do you easily come up with new ideas and possible solutions to problems? Are you good at holistic thinking and seeing the big picture? Do you think more in pictures than in words? Are you creative? Can you easily turn and rotate objects in your mind? Do you play music without musical scores? Do you consider yourself to be inventive and maybe a little bit electrifying? Do you have strong intuition? So this is how some of the dyslexic strengths can look like. And as you see now, I read all text loud for you. And that is very important to do always. Because if you, for example, have dyslexia and are in a presentation or somewhere else, and someone show text for you and talk at the same time, someone can, or you as a dyslexic can have a feeling then, because it's hard for a dyslexic to read text and listen to someone talking about something else at the same time. So if you're dyslexic, you can have a feeling like you can be a little bit worried if the rest of people know something that you don't know because you haven't read the text. So suggestions for you in all situation is when you show text, read it also aloud so everyone can hear it. Because otherwise we can lose people because they can't read the text at the same time when you show it. So that is suggestions for you, that if you have a text, please read it out loud so everyone in the room can feel comfortable. And dyslexics, we are everywhere, even if you know it or not. Now I show some people, different people from different kind of jobs and works. It's actors, it's filmmakers, it's artists, there are presidents and authors and many different kind of people. Maybe you recognize some of them or not, but these are people from different kind of jobs, and they are famous in their field. And why do I show these people for you? Yeah, this is because of they have dyslexia or had dyslexia. And it's not, I don't show them because of you should feel like, oh, look what they can do, and they also have dyslexia. No, it's not that, because it's not about that. It's more like, who do you thinking of when you hear the word dyslexia or dyslexia or dyslexic? Is it this famous people? Yeah, maybe, why not? Dyslexic people are everywhere, in every kind of job, in every kind of workplace, and in every level as well. And we are there if you know it or not. In Sweden, we used to say it's from 5 to 8%, but in some other countries, you sometimes say it's 20 or 22%. So it's a lot of people who have dyslexia. So it's not just a few, and because it's a lot of people over the whole world are dyslexics. So dyslexia is reading and writing problems. Yes, it is. It's about slow decoding of text, slow reading. It's about reading wrong when words look similar. Different Difficulty remembering what you have read. Reading makes you tired. It's very often like that. Spelling wrong, it's also very common. Mixing up right and left, yes. And difficulty memorizing the multiplication table can also be a problem. And why this kind of reading and writing problems? Yeah, actually, we don't know yet. We have not the solution of this or why it is like that. We know a lot of what kind of problems dyslexia is around reading and writing, but why it is, the reason to it is not clear yet. So that is important to know about. In Sweden, we talk a lot about the phonological theory. That is a problem to decoding text and connect the sounds of the letter to the symbols. But that explanation, it's not, it's don't say anything about the dyslexic strengths that I also going to talk about. So it's important to know about that we don't have the answer yet why it is like that. We know that dyslexia runs in families, and we also know that it's no connection to intelligence. And we also know that dyslexia causes a lot of stress. So reading and writing problems, yes, it is. But I would like to take away the dot afterwards and continue with that is also about another way of thinking, another way of functioning, and that results in problems and in strengths. And I used to call them dyslexic strengths. And here it's very important to see the whole picture at the same time. We don't exclude any problems because of we're talking about the strengths. We need to see the both parts at the same time. So dyslexic strengths. I said a little bit about them before, but very shortly we can talk about that it's about a specific way of visual thinking, that we can thinking in pictures in a way and see visual systems in our minds and rotate them and understand visual in a way and remember in pictures as well. And it's about material and three-dimensional spatial thinking. It's a kind of 3D processing and 3D understanding. And it's about what you in your mind, but also when you decode in a way. It's also about interconnected thinking. This is about to connect things that didn't is connect from the beginning. It's about thinking big and find new solutions, find new ways. It's a little bit like thinking outside the box and be creative to find new solutions and thinking in new ways, new ideas. And holistic thinking, it's also like you can be very good at have this helicopter perspective to see the big picture in a way and understand big systems and understand if we do this now, this can affect, so it will be like this in the future and things like that. So understand big system and have this holistic thinking. And there's also about specific visual perception. And one example of that is what you have seen in research many times. We have some kind of information. It's called impossible figures. I don't know if you know what I mean. It's like pictures they should trick you because they are wrong. So it can be a figure and the shadows is wrong. And it can be a picture when the water goes on the wrong side, or yeah. So it's a joke picture in a way. It should trick your brain because it isn't right. And these pictures are called impossible figures. The shadow can be wrong. in a geometric figure and things like that. And when you have compared dyslexic and non-dyslexics together with this kind of pictures, the non-dyslexics are the dyslexics are much faster to see if there is an impossible figure or not. And this is maybe about that you have this kind of holistic thing to perceive information. So that is research that they have done it many times and get the same results every time. So dyslexic are often good at see this whole picture, to understand the whole picture at the same time. And also in patterns, to see patterns. And that is also something that the British police, oh no, that's not the right word. The security in I haven't the right word right now, but in England, they have a lot of people with this kind of resource with dyslexia because of this kind of job, because it's so they recruit people through the dyslexic strengths, and that's very interesting. And we also know that dyslexics are good to problem solving. And we need more research on this, on the dyslexic strength and dyslexia from this perspective. But we also have a lot of research and have seen things since many decades. So that is something that we can't exclude either when we talk about dyslexia. So holistic thinking, global thinking. So my friend and researcher in England, Dr. Helen Taylor, she had done a very interesting research, and she says that dyslexics specialize in exploring rather than exploiting the information that already exists. Dyslexics specialize in exploring rather than exploiting the information that already exists. And now you will get a very short, it's 2 minutes or 3 minutes maybe, a film from this whole network. And some of us say something about the dyslexic strengths. And I hope you will hear the sound as well. My vision is to show the whole picture of dyslexia, that we also will understand dyslexic strengths, not just the problems.
Dyslexia, people with dyslexia do not have a disorder. It's a misunderstanding.
As you know, dyslexia is extremely common. Some people would say that 20% of people are dyslexic.
There are dyslexics throughout society, throughout organizations. And if we can just rally that population, this will lead to better conversations, more inclusive conversations. And so I think that there's a lot of opportunity there.
We need to extend our understanding of dyslexia. It's not just a difficulty, it's a strength, a difference in brain processing, and that recognition will free our dyslexic children and adults to make the most of their lives.
Mental skills of big picture thinking, visualization, and innovation, creativity, which are thought actually to be the criterion skills for 21st century success.
Dyslexic advantage would surely rejuvenate Chinese culture and bring back its vibrant color again.
It must carry advantages because the genes, we know it's highly hereditary, would not remain in our genome unless they carried some advantages. And the advantages are this different way of looking at the world, this holistic style.
The responsibility of those of us in the field to create a more holistic understanding of what dyslexia actually is.
The sort of the thinking differently the thinking outside of the box, which is, of course, the basis for all entrepreneurial developments.
It means that we can only adapt to change as a collective. We need all of those different ways of thinking in order to adapt. Otherwise, we can't do it.
I really believe that neurodiversity is the future, and it will be so important for so many companies, organizations, and we will be changing our school systems too.
You need to have not just the traditional talents, but you also need the divergent thinking that comes from dyslexic and could be actually encouraged in school rather than beaten out of the school children through very boring curricula.
The children can use their strengths even in school and not just after, because that is quite common that people after school find their strengths, but they need them in the school and from the beginning in life, so they get the right view of themselves.
Dyslexic people are capable of showing talent diversity. They come up with different set of talents than is the norm, and therefore any organization should try to employ a large percentage of dyslexic people so that they don't get stuck in their ways and they are able to adapt and thrive in the 21st century.
I talk to the young dyslexics and I say, time is on your side.
Yes. So, three-dimensional image thinking. If we talk about dyslexia like that, so I think like this, that the only thing we have in our society that are two-dimensional or flat and that require a flat decoding is text. The only thing we have in our society that is two-dimensional, flat, and that require a flat decoding is text. And it's also about around text that the problems is connected to dyslexia. So, for examples, we have a lot of things in our society who is flat. We have pictures, we have text, we have maps. But if I see this picture from Halong Bay, Vietnam, and just put a little bit more 3D in it, it doesn't matter at all. But if I see a text, I think that that gets consequences. And some dyslexics sometimes talk about this, that letters is moving around and jumping around. I don't know if you have heard that. But some dyslexics sometimes describe this like that letters is jumping around. And for me, it's more like text moving like this, and sometimes is more back, and sometimes it's more in the front. So it's not flat in a way. It's moving a little bit. So it's a little bit hard to focus on something is moving or not is completely still. And also this with reading direction, we shall not see a text, the whole text at the same time. The meaning with text is that you're reading from left to right like this. But dyslexics are very good at see the whole thing at the same time. And that is the opposite, because we need to put our eyes and force them to do in this writing direction, because we would like to see everything at the same time. So for me, it's not strengths that it's take more time to read with my eyes, because the text can moving a little bit. It can feels like it moving a little bit, and that is also I see the all of it at the same time. So I need to force my eyes to read it in the right order. And also another difference, if we compare dyslexic and non-dyslexic, is that dyslexic, the ability to think in words in the minds, we don't see so many words in our minds, in our imagination. Many others can see the written words in their minds, but many dyslexics describes that they don't, or just do it a little bit. So this is also very important to know about when we learn new words or words in other language and things like that, that it's we can't use this, oh, how it's look when it's you spell it, because we don't have we can't see the picture of the world or the letters in our mind so well as many other can do. So dyslexia, it's a word, it's come from the Greek language. It means that this problems with words in a way. And it is, but it also other things connected to it and also strengths. So I mean that this is a lot about how our time and the society is related, and what kind of norms and what that we use right now. I will finish this part with a short 1-minute film from a day we had in Sweden, 2019, about dyslexia and creativity.
Your Royal Highness, honored guests, and feed organizers, thank you so much for having us here today.
Vi är olika och det är meningen. Vi behöver bara bli bättre på att inse värdet av det.
So I tell the young dyslexics, time is on your side. All the things you've had trouble with are becoming less and less important. All the things you're good at are becoming more and more important.
Så boken bygger på ett dussin intervjuer med dyslektiker. I utställningen här bakom så kan ni se utdrag ur boken.
I think the question we need to be asking is not what's wrong with the dyslexic brain, but what is dyslexic cognition for?
Så vet jag vet ingen nobelpristagare, åtminstone inte vad jag har träffat, som säger att trots min dyslexi så har jag lyckats. Utan alla säger tack vare.
Dyslexia-land har 2 verksamhetsområden. Det ena är att vi jobbar för ett ökad respekt och förståelse för alla med dyslexi.
Dyslexia is a way of thinking that enhances our ability to adapt to change. And today humanity needs people with this way of thinking more than ever.
Man vill ha en skola, alla ska gå och alla ska lära sig enligt så här, va. Och det är fullständigt omöjligt.
Vi skulle kunna spara stora samhällskostnader där vi behöver göra insatser för dem som vi har skopat ut ur samhällsfunktioner.
Det är någonting som vi får hjälpas åt med, att bredda normen och vara uppmärksam och sprida dyslexistyrkorna. Och med det vill jag säga stort tack alla som har deltagit under den dagen, som har lyssnat och som har talat. Tack så mycket.
Yes. So school, we have a lot of ways of communicating today. We have films, we have audio, we have books, we have text, and a lot of information. We get information from many places today. And it's a big difference from now if we compare it like 150 years ago. But we have many ways today to communicate and get information from, but there is a hierarchy in connected to this different ways. And the top one, the highest one in the hierarchy, it's text. Read. That is the first class way of taking information, I would say. We have so many ways today, but that is the high class in a way. And it hasn't need to be like that, but it is quite often like that. And I call this, it's a norm, and I call this a text norm because it hadn't need to be like this. We have so many ways to use today. But the text norm says that it's a little bit more nice, or a little bit more in the first place or first class to learn from reading and use the text. And I call that the text norm. And I also mean that the text norm is strongest in the school system. Here it's easiest to see it because it's very strong. It's also in working places and things like that, but I think that it's strongest in the school. But it's also hard to see it if you're just following this text norm. It's hard to know about it and see it. But if you are outside it, like dyslexic is, it's much easier to see that there is a text norm. And this text norm get a lot of consequences for dyslexics. It can feel like a little bit like this. This is a photo I took from a car window in New Delhi in India some years ago. And it's a guy who have his bike, and it's very heavy because it's so many books on it. And that is a feeling that also can be very hard and tough for dyslexics in school, because it can feel very hard, because it's often you should learn through text and you should show your knowledge by writing it down. And reading today is not the same as it was like 150 years ago. Today we can read with our eyes. We can also read with our ears, and also with our fingers. If you're blind, for example, you can feel this dot. And the result is the same. If you read by eyes, ears, or hands, the result is the same. And for dyslexics, ear reading are very important. I used to say that I am a main ear reading person. It's my main way of reading, to use my ears. I can read with my eyes as well, but if I had a lot of information and also a time limit, my fastest way of read that text is through my ears. So ear reading is very important for dyslexic. We are all different, and we must strive to get better at realize that value of our various skills. We need to build competence through strengths-based strategies, and we also need to accepting that we all need to do things differently. Allows us to build on our strengths rather than expending resources on trying to do things someone else's way. So connected to dyslexia in school, we need to accept that children are different from each other. Students are different, and we need to think wider. We need to learn in other ways than through text. We need to show your knowledge in other ways than by writing it, because a lot of dyslexic can feel that they stop learning by forced to learn through text, because it takes so much energy, and also that we can stop showing your knowledge by writing it, because the writing can be a problem for many dyslexics. Practice, but accept the problems. Of course, the dyslexic shall practice on reading, and especially in the beginning of the school time, but we also need to accept that the problems often will be there in the future as well, even how much you practice. The reading and writing problems is there in the future as well. So here is very important that we use other ways of reading and writing. So reading, listen to text, and use ear reading. And also use picture, imagination, creativity, talk and discussion, problem solving, learn by doing, create with your hands, etc. And so, if you are a teacher, we are different and students are different. Your job is to find the way your student learns. Dyslexia is more about a difference than a disability. And the approach is very important. And you need to see every student with respect, and especially the students with dyslexia. Would you do and say to a Royal or a Nobel Prize winner? So it's very important here to have the wide perspective and have respect also for the dyslexic children, because and change the way of how to learn and use other ways. And it's very important, if you use text in your classroom, it's very important that the student with dyslexia can ear read that text instead. So text, how can we reach more people through text? I will in the end now just show you some examples how you can do the text more dyslexia friendly. I've worked a lot with students with dyslexia, with mind maps and other systems who are visual and overviews in a way, and that's often quite good for dyslexic, with pictures and arrows and things like that in it. And in my books, I have before every chapter, I have a mind map, so you can get a feeling like, what is this about, and what is this chapter about. And in the book Dyslexia in School, see the whole picture. It looks more like this mind maps. And I've also created a system, because I think it's a problem, because for dyslexics, ear reading is very important. And for me, I use text to speech a lot. Then you use it on the computers and in cell phones and things like that. The machine read for you. But it's harder when you have a printed text and printed books, a textbook like this. So this is a system called Blipsey listening codes. So if I blip this code, you see a yellow ring around it, I can hear someone read the text out loud. And the symbols is like this. It's a QR code, but we have created so it is a speech bubble around it. And when you see it's a speech bubble around it, then you know this is a speech bubble. And this is a listening code, a Blipsey listening code. And then you can hear the text that you see on the side. And this is just a very short information film about how it is. So you start with, find the listening code, you blip it with a camera in a cell phone, and then you can hear it. And it's a real voice. It's not, it's a real voice, a human who have reading this in studio. And so if you also create text and textbook and books for schools, you can also order this Blipsey listening codes and put it in the books. And it works like this. Yeah, here is the codes as well.
Do you find it hard to read? Do you have trouble seeing the text? Do you not know the language very well? Or do you need to close the book and go to work? With Blipsey, you can easily choose if you want to listen to a text instead of reading it. In a book, pamphlet, or other printed text with Blipsey's listening codes, you can, using your cell phone, easily transform the text to speech. Just scan the listening code using your cell phone. Then you can listen to the text read out loud by a professional reader. And you can also control the speed of reading. Accessible text, read with your eyes or your ears. Choose your way. Check out blipsey.com for more information.
So accessible text is about the visual of it, to have overviews, to use mind maps and other system you can see overviews of information. It's also very good to use colors, because that is a thing that is not connected to the words in that way. You can see other things connected to the colors. So color decoding is very good, and also have space between texts. If you have like checklists, it's very important that you have space between the words, so not that list is too compromising and too tight. So space is also very important. And also that you have a way that especially people with this, students with dyslexia, can listen to ear read the text if you use text in the classroom and in the education, because otherwise it's not equal. Otherwise it's much harder for dyslexic people to learn through the text. So if you have an equal education, you need to to have ways so the dyslexic can ear read the text, read with their ears. So accessible text, what is it? Yes. In order to achieve the same result on equal terms, we need to think and do things in different ways. Same goal, but different means. And we are different, and that's the point. And I will end my speech to also end up to talk about the animals, because in the beginning I talk about animals and this picture when animals should climb the tree. Here is more animals. It's a word from Albert Einstein. Everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it will live its life believing that it is stupid. And we have now talked about dyslexia and the whole picture of dyslexia problems, but also the dyslexic strengths, the whole picture of dyslexia. We have talking about school and the text norm, who's often are very strong in school system, and that causes big consequences for dyslexics and their possibility to learn. And also what accessible text can be and how text can look like to be a little bit more dyslexia friendly in a way. So with that, I would like to say thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation from you. And you can, my name is in social media is En bild av dyslexi, one picture of dyslexia, but a lot of information there is in Swedish. But please contact me if you have more questions. And thank you very much for this.
You're welcome, Susanna, and
Thank
the
you.
pleasure is all ours. We are grateful. We've learned a lot. So we have a few minutes remaining. We have 13 minutes.
Yeah.
I hope you can take questions from the participants. I'm going to welcome anybody who has a question. Please welcome to share your question.
Yes, Cody, this is Saira. If I may ask a question, please.
Yes, please go ahead, Saira.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the talk was very, very informative. And we got to know what's happening in Sweden, and you highlighted the strengths of dyslexia. So thank you so much. Now, what I wanted to ask is about that text reader where you have to use the QR code and get it on your phone. Is that a free one or a paid one?
You need to pay a little bit. It's free for you to read text and use the technique, but to put it in text, you pay a little bit. If you create books, you pay a little bit to put the technique in there, but then you can also spread the book more and get more readers.
Thank you. Is there any way we can get the name of that that app, that tool that you shared with us, please?
Yes, I can maybe send it to Codians afterwards, and then but it's blipsay.com, www.blipsay.com. Maybe I can.
Blipsay.com. Okay.
And there's also an English website there, so you can.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question from the chat from Webcare. She's asking, which font is easier to read for dyslexic students? Which font is easier to read?
Yeah, this is not so easy to have the answer on it, because it's different actually. Sometimes people say that this is easier and this is easier, and some people can things like that, but it's nothing like everyone knows. There is a font from I think is Netherlands, and the name of it is dyslexia, and it's because you can't rotate the letters, It's a little bit special with this letter, so you can't rotate it. And some people likes that, but it's different actually. So it's not easy to say that everyone with dyslexia like this or not. So my short answer is that it's different. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have another person on the chat. She's asking, what are other options you can use other than, okay, sorry, I'm trying to summarize. Are there other ways if one is able to listen to the blipse if they do not have access to mobile phones or internet in a village? What are other options available?
That's a good question. You need internet to use that technique. Otherwise, you have text to speech. If you have a computer, then you don't need internet or something. If you had the program in the computer, then
can I interrupt? Sorry to interrupt you. There is something called Speechify as well, and
yes.
audio Orocam read as well. Those are two, but I do not know what difference your software, Leapsay, has with these two softwares.
Yeah. So Blipsay, it's a real voice who have read all the text and record it and then put it in the code. When they use the programs like text to speech, you have on your computer and things like that. That's from the beginning. It's a voice who have record a lot of small letters, and then the machine, the computer, put together in that situation. So often you can hear that the speech melody it's a little bit strange, but there is a technique. So that is not a person who have read all the text. So that is different. Yeah. So the text to speech technique, like you have in this program, in different programs, you can connect to your computer and things like that. That's the machine who put the machine reads to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Audience, is there any way the lady can share the PowerPoint with you and then you can share it with us, please?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can share the whole of it because it's but I can share some of it.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. And just a question for Alim. Alim, is Speechify a free tool or a paid one?
I think it's free.
Okay.
But we can I know it works on Chrome and other Macs as well as Windows.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. We'll try it out. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Pastor Lau, thank you for joining us from Romania. Pastor Lau is one of our board members currently in Romania, so we are grateful to have you here. Thank you so much. Alim, thank you. Alim is saying we can use sans serif fonts, Arial and Comic Sans. These are some of the fonts which seem to be clear, like Calibri. I think he's Tahoma. So he's given us an option of other fonts which are likely to be easier to read for dyslexic people. Thank you so much, Alim. You're always such a good resource to have in our meetings. So there's another question as well. I would love to know if you can recommend a software if there are no QR codes on how to make general text hearable. So, Susanna, do you have another recommendation other than the one you recommended?
There is a lot of different programs, and there are also techniques like in the phone. It's also a technique you can use there. It's in the let's see. yeah, so you can use your phone, you can use your computer. So a lot of these things is already there. And also in Word, there is text-to-speech techniques there. And also in your phone, you can just yeah, it's a thing that you do with your phone, and then when you mark some of the text, you use to get a question like, would you like to copy the text? If you have done this with your phone, you can also get the question, would you like to read it loud? Read it loud. And you can press there, and then the telephone, the smartphone, read the text for you. So a lot of these techniques also is in the computers and in the smartphones already, actually. But there is also a lot of programs you can use. So this BLIPS listening code, it's connected to printed books, for example. Then you put these codes in the book from the beginning, and then the student can and the person can choose if it will read with your eyes or ears or combine them. So that is something just connected to printed texts.
Thank you, Susanna.
Answers.
Yes, Pastor Lau, you will get the recording after the meeting. You will get it probably tomorrow. So he's asking if he can get the recording. How can we get all the PowerPoint? Okay, she already answered. She's going to share part of her PowerPoint, which she would like to share with us. We will appreciate. So that one is taken care of. How do you manage dyslexics after normal education, in particular at the workplace? Okay, so I've put my number on the chat. Just in case your question is not answered due to time, you can WhatsApp me and I will be able to get Susanna answer any other questions that she might not be able to answer now. But for now, because we have a bit of time, Susanna, how do you manage dyslexia after education, particularly at the workplace?
There's a lot of things that we need to do. We need to educate the workplaces how we should see on dyslexia and what dyslexia is. How we can use so no dyslexics stops by the text, but also how people can know more about the dyslexic strength and use them as well. So it needs to knowledge on the workplace, on all levels, but also to the dyslexics themselves. And I have this 4 months program when I work with adults with dyslexia to better know themselves and find their ways, because it's so important to know how this text norm have affect you, but also that you find your strength and also value them. Because sometimes we think that, but okay, I'm not so good at spelling, or I don't read so fast, so I'm not good. But in our society today, we need so many things, and we have the techniques that we can use. I can read in other ways and I can write in other ways, but I have strengths that our society needs a lot today. So we need to accept that we are different, and also that we can do the work on different ways. And we need to accept that. So I think a lot of the answer here is to accept that we are different, and we can't be the same person, all of us. We are different from the beginning, and that is how it should be.
I love that. We are different and we are all important. Lucy, thank you. Lucy is saying she uses AI to navigate reading and reporting. It's very helpful for dyslexia.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And my people in the meeting, please, if you have any topic you would like us to tackle, we are happy to do it. Just WhatsApp me, and then I can be able to arrange accordingly. So if there's any topic you'd like us to cover, feel free to let me know. Pastor Lau, we are trying to establish a platform in Romania about dyslexia, because it's not much known about this here. Fine. It's good to spread this awareness to Romania as well. Pastor Lau, thank you. We'll demonstrate these techniques in my future talk. Amazing. So Saira has learned something that she will use in her future talk, which is good. I might be wrong. This is Temu. I might be wrong. but it seems that knowledge about dyslexia is spreading slowly. Why is that? Susanna, why do you think knowledge about dyslexia is spreading but slowly?
I think it's a lot of traditions in a way. And I need to say that all people in Sweden don't talk about dyslexia like I do. Because I've talked about the dyslexic strength as well, but there is not so many others who did it here as well as I do. I think it's I don't know. A lot of people knows about the dyslexia word, but then in the practice and in the real life, it's people sometimes connect that what people write is what they think, and that's not the way when people have dyslexia, and that people how fast people read, that is how they think, and that's not also right in the dyslexic. So I think a problem is that other people thinks like other people think like themselves, but we are different, and dyslexics think in their way and non-dyslexic in another way. So I think maybe it's a lot about that.
Okay, thank you so much. Just to wind up, because it's already 9 p.m., I would like to invite all of you to join us in spreading awareness about dyslexia. We do this through teachers training. We do this through events. So we have an event for a talent show in May, on 4th of May, where we give a platform for dyslexic people to showcase their talent. We have already learned that they have a lot of strengths. So we are giving this platform so that we can have people also boost their self-esteem, because there's a lot of stigma. People think, like, as you say, Susanna, people think dyslexic people are stupid, they're lazy. It's not true. So when we give this platform, it boosts their self-esteem. So we are welcoming all of you in this call today. Please join us. There are many ways you can join. You can attend. Tickets are going for 50,000 only. And this comes with dinner, and it's a whole afternoon of enjoyment and learning. So welcome. And of course, in October, we are joining the world to spread awareness about dyslexia. So we are also joining, and we are doing a marathon. And in this marathon, we are with the theme of raising the volume. We'll be happy to have all of you participate in our events. We are doing this for everyone who is dyslexic. We are educating the community. Once everybody knows, we are going to have a better community, because we will use strengths of people who have dyslexia and other different ways of looking at things. So thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you this evening. Next week, same time, we'll be having another talk. Stay tuned. We have another expert who's going to talk about, is it dyslexia or is it ADHD? Because people confuse these things. So it's going to be amazing. I'm welcoming all of you. Susanna, your last words. You've been amazing. You just don't know. You made my evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And very nice to be here and meet you all. Thank you very much.
And I'm seeing my friends from Sweden. Britt Marie, I can see you. You didn't say anything this evening, Britt Marie. Anybody would like to say something before we close?
We don't hear you, Britt-Marie. Your audio is...
Yes,
Now you can hear us.
Yes, so I think, not in Swedish, but in English, I would say this was really so interesting. And now I'm sitting here in Arusha. Also today, I have visited St. Jude's School today, but I have also visited other schools. But I don't... My question is, when you as living in this country and you have your school, your children into like private or government schools, I don't know, can you see that some changes and you started up these organizations like 3 years ago? This is my question to you, Cordance. I remember the first dinner, and you have some parents speaking out what they have going through. With all what you have done in this organization for this just 2-3 years, can you see now some changes? This is my question.
Yes, Britt Marie, there's a lot of changes, because we've been going from one organization to another. We've gone in November only, we visited 50 schools. Fantastic. And we spoke to management, top management. So people are slowly understanding. Today I had more than 100 people, managers of circles. So the word is going out there, but like Temu said, it's going out, but it's very slowly. Because dyslexia, people find it complicated. They say this is autism, you know, but we will get there finally. And there's improvement. We are grateful for the improvement. You see, we started dyslexia online school recently, and we've already reached more than 200 people because we discovered we cannot move to every place. But at least this online session gives us people from Tabora. You saw people from Uganda, people from Kenya. So this is another product that we thought would take the word out there. And we are getting there. We are really grateful for this support.
And finally, as a Swede, I would say I'm really proud to have this listen on Susanna, you know, to listen on another Swedish person. And so I'm very thankful and I'm proud, Susanna. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks
Very
a lot.
nice. Thank you very much. So nice to hear.
So, thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Susanna, I can see one last question here from Fiona. She says AI, computers, having internet in many schools in rural areas is not possible. Can an old analog phone help in any way? I think she had answered this question, that you need internet, Susanna, isn't it?
Yeah, internet is good for a lot of this, but otherwise, if you don't have internet, you can explain, you can talk about history, talk talk to the children, explain, use pictures, and let them also use pictures and communicate by that as well. So use pictures and other ways and explain and give them histories, tell them histories. That's a good way of then you can thinking if you hear information in histories in a way.
Thank you so much. And also as a mother of a dyslexic child, I think just supporting someone who has dyslexia, understanding what they are going through, understanding that they are different and they are willing to learn, and being kind with your words also helps. It helps to support them, to know that they are thinking this way. They need your support. They're already trying very hard. That also helps. So there are many ways we can approach it. If you're not able to access the device, just show love and caring and be kind. Explain in other ways. You could even use signs. There's always a way you can use to pass the message. As we said, the text norm is not the only way. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. Susanna, thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Susanna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shukran. Have a nice evening.
You too. Bye, Lucy.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome again next Tuesday. Thank you.